Hi everyone, welcome back to English 111. I hope everything's going well for you. I want you to notice that for each one of my face-to-face sections, and of course now we're not face-to-face anymore, we are um, operating online. At the very top under the course description, there is a notice. It says we will meet virtually at 8:30 a.m. and at 10 a.m. on Thursdays for the rest of the semester if you can make it. Click the link below to join the meeting. That's the same if you joined us last Thursday. That's the same link that you had then, but I just thought it would be convenient for you if you could sign into the Moodle page and then just click on it from there. I chose Thursdays because it's halfway between the beginning of our class, whether it starts on Monday or whether it starts on Tuesday morning, and the rest of the week. So I thought you'd have enough time to look at the assignment for the week and be ready to ask questions if you need to. So of course, if you ever want to meet any other time, as long as it's a mutually agreeable time, we can still meet with that same Google Meet joining link right up there. We can still do that other times. I've asked my Monday night people if they would prefer to meet on Monday night, and so far I have heard nothing from anyone, so I'm just going to keep it Thursdays. I did hear from a couple of people in my morning section that starts at 8:30, and they said that because of their work schedule, the earlier section worked better for them. So that's why I've added 8:30 and 10. So it'll be the same information, just at different times. Okay, so this past week, what I had asked you to do was to work on your Core Project 3, the annotated bibliography, and post your rough draft of that on the link for last week. So here's the rough draft Core Project 3 where you're going to post that. I've already looked at some that have already posted, and I'll continue to check those and try to keep everybody up to date with comments on those. So the first assignment for this week is to go back and look at my comments and then correct anything that needs to be corrected, or add anything or revise anything. And then this week, I have got the link right down here under our typical gold bar that says graded assignment, and I have it right here for you to post your final Core Project 3 annotated bibliography. I have Monday night's class being due on Monday night and Tuesdays being due on Tuesday, just because that's what y'all are used to. So anyway, I am making this video to share on all three sections though. So that's the first assignment for this week, is to finish up that Core Project 3 annotated bibliography. And once you do that, then we'll have that out of the way, and you can fully concentrate on Core Project 4, which is the essay that you're going to write. Now, a lot of you have already been, well, all of you have been doing research for, if y'all can hear a lot of noise in the background, my bulldog is eating and drinking water, so pardon her. I'm filming right here in my kitchen, so anyway, it just adds a little home atmosphere, right? But anyway, we want to make an A on this Core Project 3 again because it's 20% of your grade, and we want to make an A on the Core Project 4 because it is also 20% of your grade. So I'm going to work with you and help you as much as I possibly can. The Core Project 4 essay, that's the 5+ pages, 5 to 6 resources. It's a lot. It's bigger than any project we've had so far, but it won't be bad if you do a little bit all along. And as I was saying before the bulldog interrupted me with her eating, was that we have been doing the research all along for Core Project 3, the annotated bibliography. You were looking for sources to use for this core project 4. So I'm sure you've gotten a lot of your research done already, but you can still continue to research and continue to add to that. What I want you to do this week, in addition to posting the final edition of your annotated bibliography for a grade, is to go ahead and write an introduction paragraph for Core Project 4. Remember, this is the problem, solution, persuasive research essay. I have given you a sample. It's not due the end of this week. Only the annotated bibliography is due the end of this week, or by next week. But the problem, solution, persuasive research essay introduction paragraph, that's a mouthful, is going to be due the following week. So I've got the dates up here. And of course, I'm looking at Monday night section right now, and that's why it's got Monday nights on it. But of course, Tuesdays will read April 14th and April 27th down here. So if you tackle this a little bit all along, I think we'll be in good shape. What I want to look at, I'm not going to have you do a whole rough draft of this research paper for me to read. It's just going to be entirely too much reading for me to have to read the research paper twice. But I'm going to have you submit parts of it to me so that I can look at parts of it all along. And the first part I want to look at is your introduction paragraph and your background paragraph. So let's look at some of these documents I've put on here to help you with this. Of course, here is the original essay for problem solution persuasive essay, Core Project 4 right there, that I have put on here before. That's the one that when you open it up, it has the screenshot of the or the snapshot of the assignment itself with all the details up here. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger on my screen. And my screen is thinking about it. Anyway, but that's where you get to that original Global Goals website that you've been at before. That's the one that tells you the length and all that. It's also where we have looked at before and found. I'm going to use my finger to move this. Well, nothing seems to. My computer's acting up or something. I think next time when I'm going to, as long as they'll let me come on campus, it's best to come on campus and use their computer. The internet's much better there. But it has the link to NC Live on it. It has some other things on here too that you might find helpful. We've looked at this over and over, so that is the original document right there. My computer is still thinking about whatever it wants to do with that. All right, so let's go back to the middle page. In addition to that, I just have brought it down to this week again. But in addition to that, there is this Core Project 4 Persuasion Problem Solution Instructional Outline. And in that instructional outline, you will see when it comes up. So it says here, use the information below to research and write your Core Project 4 Persuasive Problem Solution essay. And so what it says here is what we want to do for the introduction paragraph right here, introduction. This is what goes in your introduction. And we've written an introduction before, so you know you need an attention grabber. And before, I had suggested when you go to the Global Goals website, there was a lot of information there. Remember how we scrolled down and looked at the tab that said facts? Under those facts, there were a lot of great attention grabber statements that you might choose to start with. So, Facts and Figures tab on the Global Goals page would be very helpful for you to look at if you are still looking for something. Now, if you find something amazing to start your essay with somewhere else, it's fine to use that also, but that would just be a convenient place to find something. what are the UN Global Goals? We want to put that in our introduction paragraph because your reader doesn't know what the UN Global Goals are. You're writing about one of the global goals. You've spent quite a bit of time looking at it, talking about it, thinking about it, researching about it. You've written journals on it, and you've done your annotated bibliography on it. So you know all about it. But remember, your reader doesn't know anything except what you share with them in your paper. So you need to tell them what the UN Global Goals are, give them a little bit of background, why the UN even set these global goals, and you can see my sample introduction paragraph. Again, you know I modeled for you, and I did write an introduction paragraph for this to look at. And then you want to, after you've grabbed the reader's attention, explain to them what this is all about, narrowing it down to your specific goal. Then you're going to make your claim. The thesis statement for a persuasive paper is called the claim. I think we called it the claim when we did the midterm assessment paragraph too, which was your topic sentence for that. But this is your thesis statement. And remember, the thesis statement comes where? It comes as the last sentence in your introduction paragraph. So this is what I would like for you to write this week. Attention grabber, explain a little bit about what these UN Global Goals are all about, narrow it down to what your specific goal that you're writing about is all about, and then make your claim. This is a should statement. It should have the word should in it, ought to, need to, must, something strong like that. That would be persuasive language. And then you're going to make the claim that your global goal that you're writing about should must be met by following 3 specific solutions. You're going to mention those 3 specific solutions. And we've already talked about, and we did a journal where you had to look for 3 specific solutions. So you just want to list those in your claim, in your thesis statement. After that, you're going to do your background paragraph, and the background paragraph is going to explain why the problem that the goal is based on is significant, and then you want to end it with your solutions restated. You're going to have to bring in evidence for that. You're going to have to, part of your research to explain the significance of the problem is going to be explained in that paragraph, your background paragraph. We're going to end again by reminding the readers what our 3 goals are. Then we're going to go ahead, and I'm not going to go through the rest of this because that's going to be our next step in the process. But if you want to work ahead, of course, the body paragraphs, each body paragraph for each solution. And you're going to bring in evidence from your research to back those up too. But for right now, let's just worry about the introduction and the background paragraph. So I have put this pacing guide up here. Again, these dates relate to Monday night, but Tuesday, your dates will be April 14, April 21, and April 28 instead of 13, 20, and 27. By April 13th or April 14th, depending on which section you're in, you should have your introduction and background paragraph completed and be researching evidence for your body paragraphs. You should continue to work on researching and getting that information together. If you've already got it all together, great. You can start writing those and get them looking good for your research paper. April 20th, you should have your body paragraphs finished. We're going to talk about an opposition paragraph and your refutation to the opposition and your conclusion so that you can submit your rough draft to Smart Thinking. April 20th is going to be required for this paper because, as I said, I just don't have the hours in the day to read all these research papers and then read them again for the graded assignment. But I am going to look at them a little bit all along. So the first thing I want to look at is your introduction paragraph, and your background paragraph. I want to specifically look to see if your introduction paragraph is good, and particularly that your thesis statement is strong. So I'm going to be looking at those, making comments on those, and then you can address anything that needs to be fixed with those. We're going to talk more about this in the future, but just for now, when you bring in evidence, there's three different kinds of evidence that you can bring in that is persuasive to people and try and convinces people. It's kind of like going into the courtroom and they bring in evidence to convince you that the defendant is guilty or not guilty. In this case, what you're trying to persuade your readers about is that these solutions are good, workable solutions. Look, here's where they're working already. Here's what can be accomplished. Here's how this is going to solve the problem. It's not going to totally solve the problem, but how it's going to help this problem that you've given your reader the background on. And so your solutions, 3 paragraphs devoted to solutions, that's a heavy part of the assignment to keep the focus on solutions to the problem instead of so much about the problem. So the 3 types of evidence that you can bring in that is really convincing to people, and this works in the courtroom or in your research paper, is a rational appeal. Logos comes from the Greek word logos, comes from the same root word as logic. And that would be facts, statistics, studies, surveys, authorities. These are things that appeal to people's rational mind. Another kind of appeal would be an emotional appeal or pathos. It's the same root word that we have sympathy and empathy from, and that appeals to people's emotions. And so it can be the choice of language, your choice of language that stirs the emotions. That's why you want to use good, strong language in your thesis statement or your claim, like it must be done, it should be done, it needs to be done, it's necessary that this be done, because those are good, strong languages to stir people's emotions. And then you might also find like some stories that bring out empathy or even anger or some other kind of strong emotion to appeal to people's sense of emotion as well. And then the third way is an ethical appeal, ethos. You can see that that's the root word for ethical. And what we're trying to do is establish that you are a competent, fair, trustworthy person in writing this essay, and in doing so, it adds to the convincing of your readers. And so this would be something that to show them that this is something that they can be persuaded by, because it's well written, it's backed with evidence, it's properly cited with the sources. They can go and check it out themselves, and it establishes a sense of this is the right thing to do. So we'll mention those again as we work on writing the rest of the essay. But when you're looking for information to put into your paper, keep those 3 appeals in mind. The more you use these, the better it'll be as far as being convincing to your reader. Now there's one other document I put on here, this one, Core Project 4 Organizational Instructional Outline. This outline gives you organization and instruction you need to complete your essay. You will have an introduction paragraph ending in a solid thesis statement or claim, a background paragraph explaining the severity of the problem, 3 body paragraphs, each showing examples of how the solutions are being carried out or are being considered, a paragraph of opposition with your refutation. We're going to talk about all that later, so if you're confused about it now, don't worry about it. Concentrate on your introduction and background right now. And a powerful conclusion. And if you have all these paragraphs with your evidence, you will successfully meet those 5+ pages, so don't worry about the length of it. And when we look at this document, this is the document in which I actually set this document up in proper MLA format. When it comes up, here it comes. And so as you can see, it is a properly set up in MLA format. There's my page number up at the top with my last name added before it. Here's my your name, my name, course name, date. Here's my title centered, and then here everything is double line spaced in here. And I have given you an example of an introduction paragraph here. Trying to manipulate my screen and it's just not cooperating. So here is, you can read my introduction. Here's what I chose because I've been using Goal 5 about the equality for women. And according to the United Nations Sustainable Goals webpage, see, remember we have to have a signal phrase, and then we give our, I'm sorry, these messages are popping up on my screen. This is what you get at home. Anyway, and so we have the attention getter. So globally, 750 million women and girls were married before the age of 18, and at least 200 million women and girls in 30 countries have undergone FGM, and I explained what FGM is, so I put it in brackets there, female genital mutilation. And then I have given it an in-text citation that's going to match my works cited page. That is going to start with this title, Goal 5, Achieve Gender Equality and Empower All Women and Girls. And then I have given the background here in these sentences here for the information that tells what the UN 17 Global Goals are all about. And then I have narrowed it down. One of the 17 is the goal that I'm writing about, Goal 5. And then I have come down with my computer's acting up, is helping us now. And then I brought it down to the point where I make my claim. So, to help eliminate these problems faced by girls worldwide, there are 3 sustainable solutions that must, there's my strong word, must be implemented. And then a colon, and I have listed my 3 solutions, and then I of course have to give, every time I put information from somewhere that I read it and researched it and found it, I have to give an in-text citation, and that is where my in-text citation comes. So this is what your introduction is going to look like. Now, I did not write a background paragraph in its entirety. And please, just because I put background paragraph, bring in evidence to complete this, you don't put that heading in there. I was just labeling it so you could see after the introduction, here comes the background paragraph. I just started this for you, and so I didn't do the whole thing, but here's how I started it. Women not having equal rights is harmful to all societies. Denying women equal rights denies half the population the potential to be as productive as they could be for the benefit of all societies everywhere. Women must be allowed to have the same political, economic, and social freedom as all people. And then, and notice that these are my words. I didn't look these up anywhere. This was just my words. I'm talking here. So your research paper is going to consist a lot of your own words. You're only going to bring in what you've researched to back this up. And that's why I said bring in evidence to complete this. How do we know that it's harmful? How do we know the severity of this situation, or the magnitude, how big the problem is? And that's what you'll do in your background paragraph. So that's what I want you to submit by, not this week, because this week you're going to do your annotated bibliography in its final form, but by next week you're going to have your introduction and your background paragraph written, and here is the link to submit that Make sure you've got the proper MLA format and everything, and I will look at your thesis statements, your introductions, and see if you've properly brought in your works, excuse me, your research for the background and everything, and I'll make comments on that. Of course, you'll get 100 for doing it, and you'll get my feedback, which is the most important part there. So that's what we're all about this week. Finish up Core Project 3, so you can just let that go, and then we're going to concentrate for the rest of the time on our introduction and background information. From there, we're going to go into the body paragraphs, the paragraph of opposition and refutation, and the concluding paragraph. You're going to have it all ready by April the 20th to submit it, or my Tuesday people, April 21st, to submit it to Smart Thinking. You're going to get their feedback. You're going to polish it up. We're going to make an A on this project as well. So contact me if there's anything that you need, and I will be in touch with you. I'll see you on Thursday if you can attend there, and you can ask me more questions. Thanks. Bye.